Welcome, everybody, to episode 74 of 1 Million of the Serial Chillers podcast from the Super Network studio. I am here with Hella Greg and his mobile bunker across the internet. How goes it, Hella Greg?
Relieved. I feel good.
Good. I'm feeling a little better, if that makes you feel any better.
That does. Puts me at ease.
Good. Then this shall be a breeze.
Hey, hold on. Before you continue,
Yes.
you always ask me how I'm going. How are you going?
Hey, man, I'm tired, but I'm here. Serial Chillers podcast, episode 74 of 1 Million.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. But hey, thank you, man. That warms my heart in this holiday season.
Yeah.
Even though this will come out after it.
Happy Festivus.
Yes, it's for the rest of us, but you guys enjoy whatever you do. Welcoming back to the show for like his fourth time or something. To my right here, welcome back, Bobby Roberts.
Yo, what up? It's me. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Bobby?
I'm a little sick, but at the same time, I'm ready and I'm here, and I'm definitely not as sick as these crazy motherfuckers that kill all these people. So,
All right. Well put.
yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sitting directly across from me, a contender for the first time here in the Super Network studio. Welcome, Justin.
How's it going?
Doing very well. Welcome, sir. And to my left, the third contender. That's right, 3 today. Welcome for the first time to the Super Network studio, Hunter.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for coming. All right. You guys know how the show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week, I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell them the story of an infamous serial killer. Throughout the show, you guys can chime in on my story, and if you have brought your own story that is true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious, please feel free to share it. I believe Greg brought one tonight. Lastly, if you have questions about the questions, make sure to ask questions, because I cannot answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Yeah. Are there any questions?
I'm good.
You know what? Actually, I don't. I wanted to. I wanted to really bad, but I don't have anything right now.
There will be questions, though. There will be.
There will be questions for sure. Oh, for sure.
So,
Then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast.
I love that.
All right, guys. Today's possible serial, definitely killer, is Dale Wayne Eaton. Have we heard of him? No, definitely not. All right, separate some of those cards up right here. There's some pins in the middle. I always forget to do this. You know what I always also forget to do is take a picture, so I'm going to get that right now. Question number 1. In what year was Dale Wayne Eaton born? Write your answer on the card. Closest to the answer is going to get 250 points. If you nail it, you get 1,000. This is just not what year. Any year. Throw it out there, my dudes. In fact, you know what? You could do this as well. I've been kind of throwing this out there. Give me an exact birthday, because if you can nail the exact birthday, I'll tack on an extra 500 bonus points.
All right.
So if you don't get the year right, but the birthday, it's a possible 750.
I was out.
Dale. Okay.
Dale Wayne Eaton, what year?
Can I request a higher pitch? What?
In what year?
Thank you so
was
much. Oh,
Dale Wayne Eaton born?
That makes it so much better.
You owe me $100 a month to the Patreon for the next 6 months.
Oh. I'm going to be washing dishes. Let's see here. I'm going to go. All right.
All right. Everybody got answers?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Yep. Hunter says, you just show me. What do we got here? September 11th, 1873.
Seemed like a pretty bad day.
Remember.
I realized I wrote mine way too big.
No, you're good. You use as many cards as you like. I like to be able to see it. Okay. September 2nd, 1964.
And check it out.
Bobby says March 14th, 1923. So no one got bonus points. What year did you say? 64?
64.
You said 23? Mm-hmm. Justin's going to get points.
No.
February 10th, 1945.
45.
In a small town in the Colorado Rockies. So here's a killer where there's not a lot. There's one very famous case that is derived from most of his crimes. We're going to cover that. We're also going to cover the things that he's attached to otherwise, maybe not charged for, but definitely suspected of. So, knowing that, February 10th, 1945, he's born. small town in the Rockies. That's it. All I really know is that he was the second of 7 children. He grows up and leads a fairly normal life. From what I can see, there's no real abuse. He's a mama's boy. A lot of us are. There's probably no need to
Not
take
me.
notes, just so you guys know. It really won't help you.
I was like,
I mean, you were welcome to, but it's.
I take notes just because I've seen the show enough to know like you can really get some of these questions down.
You take as many notes as you like, my
Thank you.
friend.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally not. He leads a very normal life. They at the age of 15, they moved to Meeker, Colorado, which today has a population of 2,900, and it's one of its highest. So you can imagine in 1941 when he moved there, 1961 when he moved there, the population probably was not,
Small
you know,
town
yeah,
boy.
it may have been less than 1,000 while he lived there.
Dang.
But we kind of know, like you said, small town boys. Small towns can, be idyllic and beautiful spots nestled in the Rockies, but it can also be like some kind of backwards ass podunk town where like you're not allowed to think differently than like what the status quo is. And that's sort of the life you're going to lead, like you're going to live here forever. And this is what you'll think, and you'll die thinking this. And you know why? Because you're not going to see the rest of the world, my guy. This is where you're from.
Nuh-uh, man.
And
Stick
this
to
is
the
not to
man.
disparage Meeker. I don't know. I have not been there. I'm just kind of giving my idea of like what some, the dangers of small town living are. But obviously that's few and far between. But who knows? The reason I say that all is because we don't see a very abusive childhood until we're going to get into some shit. But his very young childhood, very normal, very welcoming. He had a mother who was very loving towards him, and he, like I said, was a big mama's boy. So he's going to complete his freshman year of high school, and he's never again going to complete another grade. So that's the highest completion grade for him, his freshman year of high school. He would occasionally go to school, but when he did, he felt that it could not benefit him. Question number 2. In 1961, Dale's mother is going to have a mental break. What does she do when she snaps? Does she A, try to kill her husband, B, try to kill her kids, C, try to kill herself, or D, tries to set the family home on fire?
Oh, I got mine.
You can write letter, you can write the word, kill her husband, kill her kids, kill herself, set the home on fire.
All right.
Let's go see what you got, Bobby.
House, yo.
Bobby says tries to burn the house down,
Yup.
as
I'm gonna
does
agree.
Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 3 burn the motherfucking house down and 3 250
Yup.
point. In 1961, Dale's mother had a mental breakdown and attempt to set their home on fire while no one else was home. In 1961, he's 16. His mother's been hospitalized for trying to set the house on fire. Dale moved to Greeley, Colorado to try to live with his aunt, his mom's sister. But this only lasts 10 days before she's at her wit's end with Dale. So he's going through a lot of shit, I'm sure. His mom is in a mental institution. She tried to burn their house down.
So she didn't succeed in burning the house down?
It doesn't seem, yeah. I don't
How do
think
you fail at that?
Yeah. So She didn't get the house burned down.
Well,
It's
do you know? Do you see what year it was? Everything was made of asbestos. Lead paint and asbestos in the walls. That thing's a bomb shelter.
It actually grew arms and punched her in the mouth when she tried to set on fire. That's how it. Yeah. So Dale, he moved back with his dad. He hated moving. The one person who was very supportive in his life was his mother, and she was crazy. His father began being very abusive towards him and towards his mother when they would go visits. Like he would be very like emotionally abusive towards her, saying how much of a burden she was, and like look what you are. You're in a fucking mental institution. I have to bring my kids here to see you. So, not a cool dude. But the abuse now.
For the record,
starts-
we don't support that.
No. Let's put a fuckface tag on his father now.
Yeah.
His dad is a fuckface.
Hashtag
Fuckface.
fuckface.
Put this one in the nurture column. Raised a fuck face turned into a fuck face.
So, but he's 16, so he's lived his formative years. I'm not saying that nothing can change from 16 forward, but you're kind of, you've grown to like see your dad be a pretty normal guy, and now all of a sudden, His wife is crazy. He's having to raise you and 7 other kids on his goddamn own because you're 16 and you're the second oldest kid. So that just means there's fucking 5 kids under you.
Oh, man.
And so, we're talking probably at least down to 9 or 10 years old if they were pretty consecutive. Yeah. So,
That's a ball of fire.
yeah. So his dad's in charge of raising all of them. Dale runs away as often as he can. He really enjoyed the outdoors rather than going to school. He's now 16, like we know, and he was just out living in the wild. His aunt convinced him to talk to someone and seek some professional help because she noticed some weird changes in him as he began to just kind of like live like a wild person.
You mean, like exposed outside and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like he was really good at it apparently. Like, he would just go find spots and set up camp and kind of like he didn't want to live with his dad. He'd rather do that. So he was pretty proficient. But his aunt's like, yo, you got to talk to somebody. You've got a lot of grief in your life and, like you just have to talk to somebody. So he agrees. As a result, he would have his first psychiatric evaluation and he was flagged for having serious emotional problems. He and his mother were obviously very close. And when he lost her, the only person that was holding him together. And now he's starting to see the crazy person that she was. And it's kind of like having this realization that like genetically, he probably is the same as his mom.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, I don't think he did a lot of going to the psychologist or psychiatrist after that.
No, therapists are chumps.
Yes. Oh, okay.
That's what he's thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Get help if you need it, please, people. Sorry. He's out doing his camping thing. He gets caught committing assault with a deadly weapon and stealing. So, he's out living in the wilderness, kind of like stealing a lot of what he needs. And I think at one point he tried to rob somebody.
Oh.
And he took a swipe at him with a knife. I don't think he stabbed anybody. I think he cut a guy, but like he
Just to
assaulted
kinda send the
somebody
message.
with a deadly weapon.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's the charge, As a result, he was turned over to juvenile authority and sent to Lookout Mountain School for Boys.
Is
So
he at 17 at this age?
he's just turned 17 when this happened.
Was he a Boy Scout as a kid, or was that something he just learned how to do?
Yeah, I think it was learned out of necessity.
Oh, man. Survival.
So between the ages of 17 and 19, he would be at the reform school. He did very well at the reform school. I think structure was really all he needed. I'm pretty, like this, like joining the military or something probably would have been right up his alley. And I don't think he quite realized that. Or maybe he couldn't because of this
He dropped out
3
of
years at a
freshman.
reformatory he had been. Yeah. So
Possibly he never did like receive like a good upbringing, huh?
yeah, like, he just because you didn't get abused doesn't mean your parents were fucking awesome. Yeah, you know what I
very
mean?
true.
Like,
Well, imagine his life like being super normal, and then all of a sudden it flips completely.
Yeah.
So that could send someone under for sure.
and dad left alone with 7 kids. Yeah, Greg's very true. It's think about the nurture here or lack thereof. So yeah, he does very, very well in the school. Not a lot there. He gets like a certificate for welding while he's there. The second he gets out of reform school, he goes to live with his aunt. His aunt kind of, encourages him to move along, and he like tells her he got a spot and he moves out, but he's just back to camping again. Yeah, so he's got this welding certificate and he starts to look for jobs and finally tracks one down. He's out of the reformatory school. He's living on his own. He's got this welding certificate and a new look on life that he never thought possible. So he gets himself a girlfriend. She's 16 years old. So we left the name out. Everything seems to be going well for him. He's just working a lot, as manual labor jobs tend to be, are long hours and hard work. And he's doing a ton of welding. But he's enjoying his work and what he does, and he's kind of getting lost in the work and just taking the overtime and going for it. And he's gone pretty much all weekdays and home on the weekends, which I know a lot of people today that do their, construction job or something similar, manual labor job like that. They're out of town all week and they're home on the weekend. So his girlfriend, not super dope. Not enjoying that a lot. She is fed up with Dale's negligent ways, and she ends up finding another man and leaving. He's pretty devastated because things were kind of going well for him for once, and that hadn't really happened to him his entire life. So because of the heartbreak, he gets to drinking and quote, constantly being caught up in the law, said one article. He gets canned from his welding job because of his change in character and work ethic. He was also stealing again because he's fucking doesn't have an apartment or anything. He's out camping again. So he got caught stealing again. He goes to jail a few times. He spent time in Colorado Buena Vista Correctional Facility. In 1970, he's now 25 years old. He calmed down to become a productive member of society once more and was able to keep his nose clean for a while. Question number 3. He was involved in the building of what in his hometown? Was it A, a church, B, a school, C, a homeless shelter, or D, City Hall? Church, school, homeless shelter, or City Hall? What did he help build in his hometown while he was keeping his nose clean for a while? All right, Hunter says a school. Justin says a homeless shelter. Bobby says a church. And she's giving it up for the Lord.
Yes.
Bobby's right. 250
God is
points.
good.
He does.
If you believe in him.
He does build a church. Yes, Bobby, he is good.
He is good.
Yes, praise him. So, he's back home. Dale helped build a church in his hometown, of which he was a member and attended every Sunday. Also, he built that shit. That's like a free ticket to heaven, right, dude?
Yeah.
Pretty much no matter what. I built a
killing
church, yo.
I'll be right back. I've got some stuff I have to attend to if that's the case.
Build it quick, buddy. Build it quick.
Just go paint the word church on your drum booth.
That's pretty much what I was going to do.
All you got to do, 2 or more, bro. He's anywhere, 2 or more gather. Let's see. At the same time, while he was building the church and keeping his nose clean, he became a member of the Operating Engineers Union, which is a pretty fucking sweet job, man. Dudes that drive big-ass tractors and shit get paid very, very well to do so because they have very highly trained technical jobs to do. Also, hella fun, dude. Can you imagine getting to drive big-ass tractors?
Dude, that's so tight.
And super dangerous.
Yes,
Super.
there's
that's
quite a bit of
what fun's
hazard pay
about.
in that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Need a little danger.
Thanks for pissing on our parade, you fuckface.
Whatever, dude, that makes them badass. You ever seen those guys that stand up on the top of windmills?
Yep, yes I have. Yep, those guys are badass.
I'm not gonna do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
not
I would
me
shit
either.
my pants.
Nah, me either.
First step up that ladder.
Ready
I'd
to
be
go
like,
for sure.
oh, dude, but you know what, though? Today... Yeah, no. Today's my no climb day. So- oh, shit, dude. All the way down here. So, yeah. He's part of the Operating Engineers Union. 1971, he marries a woman named Melody. She was 18, so we can get her in there.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Melody.
On their wedding night, she actually would go ahead and ask Dale for a divorce. After a tumultuous relationship, she just
day
decided
of?
on this night, after being married, she went through with it, too.
Yeah,
Like with
it hit her hard though when she went
Yep,
through it. Right
yep.
when she had that cake, she was like, "I don't think I want this guy
Buttercream
cake."
frosting.
He slammed that in my face kind of hard. So that wasn't good. She realized that the relationship wasn't very good for either of them. He claims that during their relationship that he supported her financially, but his job was volatile and he would be often gone for weeks at a time. She was violent, hitting him, and he claims to never hit her back. But from all reports, he did show great restraint. So, everybody was like, that's his fucking story. But every time the cops came out and shit, it did always look like he was the one that had like some whaps in the face or like the cut on the forearm or whatever. And she was running pretty clean. So, not to give him credit for really anything.
No, not at all.
She probably only had bleeding knuckles.
Yeah. So she was apparently very violent towards him. So, they're still together through most of this, but Dale moves into a friend's place after also losing his job because Melody told him to get the fuck out.
Yeah. Not
During
even the couch.
Yeah, during his stay at the friend's house, Dale almost choked the friend's daughter to death. Like, I know.
knew it.
Listen,
I
it's
knew
a
it.
two-part
Jaguar
sentence.
style.
It's a two-part sentence. Over preparing pork differently than she was used to.
What?
Yeah, see, man, it's like it's a roller coaster, man. We gotta go up and down. If this were like on or something, I'd be like, tried to choke his daughter to death. We're gonna take a break right here. We'll come back in 15 minutes after a ton of commercials, and then it'll come back and I'll be like, that's right. He tried to choke their daughter to death by making the pork tenderloin a little more rare than they actually normally do. That's right. Yeah. So the mom and dad told Dale, like, hey, we cook it well around here. I know kind of more rare is a little more traditional on a tenderloin, but like, we got a little kid, it's whatever for us. Just cook it well. And Dale was like, he was like one of those dudes that was like, oh, you want me to cook this pork tenderloin well? Yeah. Well, I'm just going to cook it the best fucking kind of rare you've ever fucking had and blow your goddamn
How
mind.
you cook
Yeah.
pork tenderloin. That's how you cook shit. And I'm not eating shit. Somebody else's house.
So the daughter chokes. I have no idea how old the daughter was. This is what I've got for you. But she nearly chokes. They give her the Heimlich maneuver. The mom's like, he fucking did it on purpose. Like, you told him not to cook it like that. I told him not to cook it like that. He fucking cooked like that, and she choked. So they told him, yo, here's the deal. Get the fuck out as well. So he got kicked out of the place that he went for getting kicked out of his place. From 1972 to 79, he's going to have 2 sons and 1 daughter with Melody, even though he's on again, off again, living at the home. As he continues to look for work, when one job ends, he finds another, and he's a very great supporter of his family at this point. So, like, he's a journeyman. He's doing a little bit of everything, but like he's never off his feet for very long. He's always getting it together, getting a fucking new job, going and making some money, like paying his fucking bills. In 1979, he's finally found some solid work, and Melody files for divorce. Yes. So Dale and Melody would get back together and break up several times. Question number 4, how long would they try to make it work before making the divorce official? From the time she filed to the time they actually called it, fuck it, let's sign the goddamn papers. How long was that period?
All right, I'm stabbed.
250 points. Everybody's stabbing. 250 points to the closest. 1,000 if you could nail it. Could be days, weeks, months, years. Everybody get those pictures written down. Bobby coughed. Everybody just got SARS.
Sorry.
Everybody got Ebola.
Ebola. All right, baby. Check it out.
Bobby says 4 years. 1 week from Hunter. Justin says 2 months. Bobby's going to get 250 points because they went on again, off again for the next 7 years until 1986.
I almost said 10 years, because
Dang.
it's like you just saw their pattern. You know what I'm saying? They really they don't give up, but they do give up. It's really weird.
And
All right.
They do have the kids, dude. That's kind of crazy.
Stay together for the kids. Yeah. Could have been a lot of that going on. Bobby's got 750 points. Justin's got 500. Hunter has 250. Plenty of time to go. We're 4 questions of 13 through.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're divorced for good in 1986. Only 7 goddamn motherfucking years. At that point, Dale threatens to kill himself, and he's sent for psychiatric evaluation. He went to the police about his depression after his psychiatric evaluation. The police are like, hey, man, like, we can get you some help, I guess. And they take him over to the hospital where he is diagnosed with depression and thought disorder. On April 26th of 1982, there were suspected murders in Wyoming that were likely related to Dale. During this time, only skeletal remains were found of a female corpse who was aged 25 to 30. Her injuries were located on the upper arm, right rib cage, and left ankle. Her face was reconstructed forensically since it was destroyed by the elements during being left out. So they did that cool, like they had the dude come in, like put the clay on, like. So they used that to like try to identify the body, and they were never successful. But it was once again suspected that it was Dale to be the killer. So there's going to be quite a few like that we're going to describe, is where Dale's never been charged for these, but he's suspected of like a pretty good amount of murders.
All female though, right? Unless there was a witness.
Possibly because it just fits like a theme or something.
Well, it's
Yeah,
because he's been messed with his whole life by all women.
Well, I mean, not that they're all his murders.
Well, no, it just kind of coincidentally happened where like most of the things that happened to him is because like, either a woman abandoned him.
Most serial
something like
killers are killers of the opposite
that.
sex
which
too.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
So there's a lot of shit that we're going to kind of see tied to him. You know, there might be some like physical evidence. In some cases, there's some DNA that has been tested, but nothing has gone forward with. That's the crazy thing about the way things have gone, is a lot of police departments had the foresight to keep these things, knowing that like DNA testing's coming in the next 10 or 11 years, and like maybe we can get a break then because we can't now. Yeah. So
Horrible way to do things.
Yeah.
I know.
Unfortunately.
For those years, yeah.
A lot of people
Slowed
have
it
been
up
let
for
out
10
from
years.
DNA evidence.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they were never able to identify the woman who was found in Wyoming. It would always be suspected once that it was Dale. August 7th of 82, another body is found of suspected related murder of a female, Belinda Grantham. She appeared to be strangled to death and had been in the river several days before her discovery. She died from neck trauma and strangulations, they supposed. On September 10th of 1982, Naomi Kidder, who was not identified until March of 1984, was found strangled to death by a wire ligature. She was
March of 1994.
I'm sorry?
You
yes,
said
I'm sorry.
84.
Yeah. 12 years later, she would be identified, not 2.
What?
That's crazy. That's
she
crazy that they didn't let it go like completely cold and that they
This-
were able to identify her.
I can't wait. I'm glad you said that because this case kind of does that. You're going to see like it goes away
It
and
gets right to
something
the edge
pops
and then-
up. And yeah, that's exactly right. So September 10th, Naomi Kidder was found. She's 12 years later. She's going to be identified. She was discovered nude and was considered to be mummified in a mummified state when the body was found.
Whoa.
Yeah, she wasn't prepared that way. Just the way the elements got to her, she happened to be in what they described as a mummified state. So, question number 5. We just heard about 3 killings believed to be committed by Dale Eaton. How many more suspected victims will Dale claim? Just write it down.
Yeah. Yo.
All right, Bobby, how many more? 16 more. 14 more from Hunter. 10 more from Justin. Justin's going to get the points because he's
Good
going
job,
to be
good job.
suspected of 4 more mortars. 4 more moiters.
Oh no.
That's right, 4 more. So it's a tie between Justin and Bobby at 750 a pop right now. Don't worry, Hunter, plenty of questions
You on that
left.
snail trail, dog. you on that snail trail. You a snail riding a rock.
So
All right, you write your points, dog.
Hey,
Write your
the
points to the
pioneers
grocery
used to
store.
ride those babies for miles.
let's take a break right here. We're going to come back with a very Hella Greg story from Hella Greg. And, let's break up Dale Eaton's dumb shithead face. And then we'll, go right back into it after that. So come back or I'll kill you.
He will.
I feel blessed right now in this moment at my best. Walking down the path of my success. Work for what you want in life, progress. So you know what you signed up for.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 74 of the Serial Chillers podcast. We're going to take a break from Dale Eaton because icky.
Yeah, man, he's weird, dude.
We're gonna have a nice palate cleanser here. I text Greg yesterday or early today and said, "Yo, Greg, can you bring like a Hella Greg story for this episode?" And he hit me back and he was like, "Yo, you know what I haven't done?" And then what'd you say?
I said I haven't done the Men in Black.
Yeah. So just indulge us.
Okay.
That was a great
Here, should I do this to start it?
dude.
It seems
please,
appropriate.
Please. Yes.
And now, the Men in Black.
Come with me, people. Welcome to the bunker.
Come hither.
This is the Men in Black. I mean, you've all seen the movie. We just talked about it. But I want to really kick this off with a quote from Woodrow Wilson, the 28th president of the United States, who said, "quote Some of the biggest men in the United States are afraid of something, of a power somewhere so organized, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so pervasive that they better not speak above their breath when they speak in condemnation of it."
God damn.
And, yeah,
That's scary as fuck. That statement
that's
made my beehole pucker.
And that's a president saying that. That's not me. That's not dickwad Alex Jones saying it. That's somebody like in a position of authority.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
And so that's that there's already, they've acknowledged that there's a power like that out there. There's the powers that be. Can't put the air quotes, but they're there. So like the first official sighting of the Men in Black was like it was in 1947. That was really what kicked it off. But I know the movie's more popular than some creepy guys showing up at a house in a desert. So we'll start with the movie. In the movie, I'm just gonna kind of like break the movie down a little bit as far as what they nailed and what they didn't nail with the Men in Black.
What was it?
suits nailed.
Yeah, exactly.
One letter names.
No, they make them look like a bunch of super cool like space security guard badass dudes with high tech weapons and like an intergalactic security team. But
Yeah,
they're
it's like space TSA. That's what I saw it as.
yeah, and that's kind of not what it is. First, like I don't think they go out and recruit people, especially
boy,
people who
Willie
can just run really
Smith.
fast. You know what I mean?
Yo, dude, he ran down a level 3 reptilian.
For real, Willie Smith handles it.
I mean, I get it, but so they're allegedly allegedly they're a
legend.
fourth dimensional being.
Right. Okay.
Oh, snaps.
So they're why would they if you can travel interdimensionally? Do you really think it matters if that dude can run somebody down when you can just teleport around the corner and like be ahead of it?
If he's
Means
Willie
I will
Smith.
knock your punk ass down. Right?
Yeah.
That was good, dude.
That's
Like
what I'm
that's the
saying.
kind of shit you want in the minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes
I
for
bet
a
they
better
requested
story.
him after seeing that movie. They're like, you know what? You could be part of it now.
Yeah. Also, they've been known to do like straight magic, not like sleight of hand, but like
Like some Chris Angel shit.
Come on. Come
no.
on, Bobby.
He's not real. Man,
disappointed in
All
you.
these years, I just could have thought.
So explain to Bobby what straight magic is.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on.
so there's one story where the guy meets the Men in Black, like one of the first encounters, and he goes to get him some water, and one of the guys is explaining that they know things and that they know things about him, that they can do things. And he's like, what do you mean? And so the guy is like, you've got coins in your pocket, right? And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, you've got 41 cents. And the guy's like, I don't know. So he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out 41 cents. And so he puts it in the Man in Black's gloved hand, and he holds his hand out flat, kind of like a table. And the guy said the coins in his hand became out of focus, almost like he couldn't focus on them. And then they just kind of disappeared. And when he asked where they went, the guy said they're not on this plane anymore.
Like in the 4th dimension now.
Right.
Dude,
so that's the kind of magic I'm talking about. It's not like, oh, look, there's a quarter behind your ear, and you're like, hey, thanks, Uncle Touchy. It's more like,
That's just jutsus, bro.
got
Kakashi can do that
interdimensionally
real
robbed.
quick.
yeah, he just transported something to another dimension that you can't really comprehend.
Right. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that too. I
mean,
actually know
I've
exactly
seen,
what
like
that
fourth
is.
dimensional, like
So that's the magic
visual
I'm
things,
talking
you know
about.
what I mean? Like,
But
like
in
four
the
dimensions
movie, they
space.
also, each of the characters, like they're all a character. They all have a personality. You know what I mean? Like Will Smith has a personality. Tommy Lee Jones has,
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones' lack of personality was like
Yeah.
the part that they nailed, because these Men in Black, they don't have a personality. You know what I mean? They're not.
Well, isn't that like one of the jokes in the movie? He's like, sadly, sir, at the office, we don't have a personality.
Yeah, and it's because they don't. They're. It's always been reported that they were like somebody wearing a human suit trying to act like a human would act.
Oh, snaps. That's
And
so
now
young.
human music.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like somebody got briefed on how to be a human. Hey, if somebody says something funny, laugh. And they're like, "What's funny?" And they're like, you'll tell by the inflection in their voice, and their eyes will light up, and their pupils will dilate because they're, you know what I mean? Like that's, and they're like, okay, so they're like looking for those signals, and then ha 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 ha. And
It's like
I'm all of a sudden suspicious of so many people.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Mark Zuckerberg
okay,
is a Men in Black.
Let me get to that later, but it just seems like they've all had a personality bypass. And that they don't really know how to behave. Plus, they don't have typical features. Like I said, it looks like somebody wearing a human suit. Some of them don't have hair. Some of them wear wigs. When I say they don't have hair, it's like a latex suit that they put on. No eyelashes, no eyebrows, no, you know what I mean? No
Like
stubble.
Green Man.
Oh hell.
Yeah, and so that stuff's drawn on. They don't have lips, so they'll like it, allegedly. I've never come in contact with it. They don't have lips, so they'll wear like a lipstick. And one of the stories was that when the guy, brought his hand up to his mouth or something like that, when he brought it back down, the lipstick was on his glove, and it was like smudged on his face.
So
weird.
Hell no, I'll be tripping.
Yeah, and I mean they're super freaky, and so that's the whole deal. Is like the actual story with them is that not the actual story, but they allegedly show up after credible UFO sightings or something paranormal like that. That's what makes people convinced that they're like a government agency or like an extra governmental agency, some black budget deep state type shit that really freaks people out. And their whole deal is to like try and convince people that what they think they saw, they in fact did not actually see. Which I know it's the line from the song, and that's kind of why it's in the song. That's their whole jam. And they use a lot of really crazy tactics. They'll anything from like crank calls at all hours of the night just to keep you awake so you don't sleep well.
It's like gang stalky.
That's like the upper echelon of what they do is that they'll gang stalk you and they'll put you in like full live play scenarios where you're never not in a controlled environment. And
it is like, and now human music.
Yeah, it's exactly. And it's the whole purpose is to if they can't convince you through like good old fashioned intimidation techniques, like finding you when you're out in public and being like, excuse me, Jesse, I know you have a family at home, and we would hate to see little child A and little child B and little child C meet.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, we would hate to see them meet an unfortunate accident. In fact, hold on, my phone's ringing right now. Hello? Yes. 1 second. And then, you talk to him, and it's your kids on the phone. You know what I mean? And the guy's there that's the kind of shit that they would pull. They would try, if that didn't convince you to keep your damn mouth shut.
Right.
Just give me the red beam. Like, don't go through all that. Like, just give me the red beam real quick. Boom, I'm good.
Then it escalates, though. No, because it's if somebody dies, there's questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are going to notice somebody going missing, especially people who usually are involved in the ones that they go through this much trouble for are usually somebody who has a lot of information and it would raise a lot of red flags if somebody went missing.
And then all of a sudden they're crazy and not credible.
Exactly. So they slowly over time cause this person to discredit themselves and they just tarnish their own reputation. And that's the end game is to ultimately keep secrets.
That doesn't even sound like the nice Men in Black that I've grown to love.
It's not.
So yeah,
man.
Truth Men in Black, man.
Wow. Holy shit, Greg.
Man, I can't watch that movie ever the same again.
Yeah, but watch it with that knowledge. It makes it a little funnier.
Yeah.
Like when Tommy Lee Jones drinks the lemonade and then just spits it right back in the glass. Or Will Smith spits it right back in the glass and Tommy Lee Jones never touches his. You're like, yeah, dude. Because they don't fucking do that.
Well, holy shit, man. Yeah, I'm a little shook right now. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'm definitely shook.
Cool, take your time.
I'm woke.
Yeah, no, I
the
always...
knowledge I carry with me. I did most of this from my head.
What's funny is, like, I've totally heard all of this before, but just to hear how creepy, like, they, like, if they exist, how fucking creepy that would be to, like, some lanky dude in a suit on top of a suit with holes cut out for eyes and nose.
I just keep looking at that alien right there now.
I'm like, you're an alien. I actually feel like they're the aliens that come to Earth after an Earth or a UFO sighting just to kind of divert their own alienness, and they can leave and do what they got to do.
Oh man, they're not doing a very
Like
good
that
job.
episode, like that episode of South Park. We're looking for Baby Fark McGee's axe.
Oh yeah,
They were
my
testing Earth to
God.
see if they could get into the Intergalactic Council.
they just killed the shit out of Baby Fark McGee's axe, dude. Just stab.
I love South Park.
All right, so I guess fuck, man, that shook me. But let's finish up with Dale Eaton. Okay, yay! This show, man, this show. The gray hairs, they are multiplying. March 1st, 1983. A woman named Janelle Johnson was found with her legs protruding from a makeshift grave. She had been buried, but storm runoff had eroded away part of the grave. They, upon autopsy, noted that she had been raped, and bite marks were found on her left shoulder. Even though she was partially decayed, it is said that the teeth marks would later be matched to Dale Eaton. So this is 1983. It's going to be a while. Essentially, a lot of this is going to be cold case for a very long time. And the kind of what we talked about earlier, the DNA evidence, it starts to become a thing. And a lot of these we can work backwards on.
So crazy because he has like no similarities in like the murders. I feel like.
Yeah.
That
And
one's rape.
we'll get, yeah.
A lot of them were strangled. Though.
Yeah, that is true. Some type of strangulation.
Some type of strangulation.
Yeah. So, 1987, he's now 40 years old. He lives on some property that his uncle gave him in Moneta, Wyoming. He lives on the property alone. His uncle gave it to him because I think he kind of wanted him away from the rest of the family. I truly believe that. It was like a half mile off the road, and it was in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. His closest neighbors were also about a half mile out. So that's not crazy far, but that's not real close either. Yeah. That's like, I can only see their house on a clear day distance, So he got a 1950s bus and converted it into a living space. It had a little more than a propane stove and a small bed with no real power. So, when we say he fucking converted a bus, it really just means they took out the seats and like put a bed and a camp stove in there is what it sounds like to me.
That sounds like carbon monoxide poisoning to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Good riddance. Too bad it didn't happen. The bus was too big, I guess. So, question number 6. During this time, he's working 2 odd jobs, you can say. Choose 2 of these. Was he A, scavenging, B, towing, C, a janitor, or D, a small engine mechanic? He was doing 2 of these things. Scavenging, towing, janitor, small engine mechanic. 2 of these are correct. It's 250 points for each correct answer.
All right.
Everybody got them down? Take your time.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Hunter said A and B, scavenging and towing. Justin said D and A, small engine mechanic, and scavenging. Bobby said
Janitor and small engine mechanic.
janitor and small engine mechanic. Well, Hunter's getting 500 points because he was scavenging and towing. Bobby's getting 0. Justin 250, right? Okay, so
Let's do some
hold on.
points counting real quick.
yeah. So we're going to take a look at it, and it's going to be Hunter moving up to 750. Justin moving up to 1,000, and Bobby at 750. So just like that, guys.
Oh, damn.
What a swing.
And upset.
I feel like he really may have missed an opportunity if he didn't call his company Dale's Toes and then just had a picture of him with like his foot out, his toes all spread.
He's like, you're gonna have to pick up your truck from me.
So I don't know the name of his towing company. I don't know that it was legit or legal. So he spent his time doing these small jobs. He scavenged for, scrap metal and things of that nature. He would see people broken down along the road and offer them tows to where they needed to go at some pretty high rates. But if you're out there in the middle of nowhere in 1987, no cell phone, and some tow truck rolls up like, hey, $300 rolling to town, you're like, fuck.
And there's been some mysterious deaths.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it, why not? Hey.
That guy's stoking his own business.
So different MOs, like we said. During this time, he also became very, even better at hunting than he had been. Apparently, now he was able to catch animals with just his hands and a knife, and he was able to dispatch even medium-sized animals quite quickly and proficiently. The lack of accommodations at his property also led to, and imagine he's hunting, so there's a lot of blood around, led to terrible hygiene on Dale's part, as he did not have indoor plumbing or running water. So it's the late 80s, and this fucking rock star is living in a converted 1950s bus with no plumbing, meaning he's fucking shitting in a bucket or a hole nearby, and he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to, like, hike it out a half mile to, like, put it in a corner somewhere.
I thoroughly enjoy the image of this guy wrestling animals. So I understand all this stuff is relative. Like, you know, animal size is relative.
Yeah.
For me, a large animal would be like a deer.
Yeah.
Because I don't get out in the woods much. Like a
Deers are
medium-sized
pretty big,
animal
though,
for me would be
right?
like a large dog.
Yeah, that's what I
And
think he
so-
was doing. He was catching like coyotes and foxes, and like he was
Okay, then in that case, I got to give that guy props because, and this is completely, I mean, this is a tangent. I may or may not cut this, whatever, but
shitty bus. He's not cleaning himself. He's not cleaning the bus. It's a fucking dirt farm that he lives on. Can you? I mean, just like I used to live on a little bit of property when I was a kid. We didn't own it. A family member did, but like. It was like that. There were fields in it where it was just dirt, and a strong wind come and it ruins everything. When you're standing out there, you like get caked in it. You know what I mean? So like this guy was living like that outside, like gutting and skinning small dogs and rabbits and things that he's catching and
flies,
grilling
too.
them up outside. And this is what this guy. And then there's no water and there's no running toilet. He hasn't
Like,
even
where
dug
does he
himself like
shower?
an outhouse.
peas on his hands to wash them.
Yeah, like does he shower?
Yeah, I don't think
Well,
he
you
does.
don't have to
I don't
shower,
think
you
you
know?
don't have to, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Damn,
kind of
that's just, Dude,
Yeah.
you have like mushrooms growing out your freaking face, bro.
smell it, you know. March 25th, 1988, Dale Eaton abducts 18-year-old Lisa Marie Kimmel in Fremont County, Wyoming. Kimmel is a young budding Arby's manager who was driving through Wyoming to visit her boyfriend when Eaton attacked her at a rest stop where the two were the only ones using it. So he rolls up and sees her there. He's very familiar with the area and understands that nobody's coming to this rest stop for like at least a few hours. Like, let's see who this is. So he takes Kimmel and she drives a black Honda CRX. He loads it up to the tow truck, puts her inside and binds her up and drives 20 miles to his house or the old school bus. Question number 7, the black CRX had vanity plates. Which of these was on those plates? Was it Love Work, L-U-V, Work, Lil Miss, L-I-L, Miss, C, Arby Boss, A-R-B-Y-B-O-S, or D, Roast Beef, R-S-T. Where's it at, Justin? Which one? Oh, I see. Okay.
Little miss.
Okay. Bobby says Lil Miss. Hunter says Love Work. Justin said Roast Beef. Bobby's getting 250 points.
Let's go, homie.
And taking a tie into
No
first
one
here. Here we
outdoors,
go.
okay?
So here's the thing. This murder is actually known as the Lil Miss murder.
Oh,
And it's based on that
Wyoming, you know what I'm
license
saying?
plate.
Like-
All right, so we've got 750 Hunter, 1,000 for both Justin and Bobby. This thing is hanging in there. Greg, you better stay on it for a possible artistic challenge if we get down that way.
Yup.
I'm going to tell you, there's not a ton of show left, but there's still fucking 6 questions left. So, you know, they're going to come rapid fire.
Lightning round.
Yeah, you know, something like that.
I'm ready for it.
So while Eaton had her in, let's say, his custody, he raped her and made her perform many violent sexual assaults. He was very attached to Lisa, and he did not kill her immediately. He kept newspaper articles about her being missing in the bus that she was being held in, a half mile off the road, half mile from any neighbor. Fuck. There was also newspaper clippings found at his home later of some other victims. The police were nowhere near discovering him as a suspect, but I think he still got startled or spooked at some point, and
Well, that paranoia, for sure.
and realized that he couldn't just keep her. So on March 31st, 1988, Greg, you're going to love some of the answers on here. On the evening of the 6th day, question number 8, he would give her the last meal she would ever eat. What would it be?
Oh no.
Chicken,
It's gonna be Arby's.
beef stew, roast beef, or rotisserie chicken?
Oh,
Roast beef back to back, anybody? Justin? Was it chicken, beef stew, roast beef, or rotisserie chicken? Yeah, I know there's not a lot of difference between chicken and rotisserie chicken, but those are what I wrote down apparently. Because, if it was just like baked or something, it's not rotisserie chicken.
Exactly.
Could have been fried. Could have been some Kentucky style
Maybe so.
fried chicken.
Bobby said beef stew. Hunter and Justin both said rotisserie chicken. But on the last night of her life, he gave her roast beef dinner.
Oh, dude.
You guys all were like, oh, she worked at Arby's. He for sure didn't give her roast beef.
Oh my god.
But he for sure did give her roast beef.
I feel like he probably gave her Arby's.
Damn.
No, apparently he cooked her like legit, real deal. Like he thought that was like as fancy as he was getting. It was like he made her a nice roast beef dinner for he loved her. I think you know what I mean. Like it was irrational, and he's a sick fucking man. But in his eyes, like he loved her. He wanted to make her a nice dinner.
You know what this kind of feels like?
What's that?
When you watch like a movie and there's like they use the brain of a dead person, like Frankenstein, brain of a dead person and a monster.
Yeah.
And like when Frankenstein sat down and like picked flowers with that little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I feel from this. Like you watch this person just kind of slowly descend. He was a normal child and he's just kind of slowly descended and gone downhill and eventually wound up living in a bus in the middle of nowhere. And now he just kidnapped and sexually assaulted and is about to kill this person. But he's developed some sort of weird bond with her. And so much so that he's willing to like go all out and like remember what it was like to be human for a minute. And it's just that it's a really weird. It's really weird.
Crazy.
It's very like obviously he's not at all on like the intellectual level of this fictional character. It was very like Hannibal Lecter. Like towards the end, he's like, I'm going to prepare you a nice dinner tonight. And then after that, I'm going to kill you. Like like he's like going all out, and then he dressed her up in socks and panties and drove her 70 miles away to the old government bridge. He pulled her out of his vehicle, struck her on the head with a lead pipe, rendering her unconscious. He then proceeded to stab her with a large kitchen knife 6 times in vital organs, then dumped her body in the shallow waters over the bridge. Over these 6 days, he tortured, raped, and beat her, and then ended it with a lead pipe and the stabbing. So apparently the injury from they said the head wound would have killed her in less than 60 seconds. She would have been painlessly dead and bled out, and it would have been over. But he like understood where the organs were, and he stabbed vital organs. So yeah.
That's not love. That's not love.
No.
That many knife wounds though.
But I think to him,
Passion.
passion for sure. But I think to him, he's like, I'm going to get all the vital organs. I'm going to hit her really hard over the head. Like I'm doing this mercifully.
Yeah,
I'm making sure
yeah.
she dies,
Yeah.
That's his deal, man. So,
Damn.
just a few days later, 3 days later, the body of Lisa Kimmel is found in the North Platte River. She had floated down from where he dropped her on the old government bridge. Her mother, who would later write a book about the whole situation, remembers having a bad dream while her daughter had not turned up. And so, like, in these couple days, her mom said, like, the day before she was found, she had this awful fucking dream. She can't really remember what it was, but she just, when she woke up, knew that she wasn't going to see her daughter ever again. And then later that day, they found her body in the river. So she was totally right. In 1988, during the summer, the uncle who owned the land sent his son Billy to live on the land with. He's just like, fuck, I need to get rid of this kid too. I'm going to send him out and he can just live with Dale.
We can just make a nice little colony out there.
Yeah. So he sends him out there. It's his son and his daughter. During this time, Dale continues a lot of suspicious activity without a lot of explanation, or at least not any real good reason. Billy accepts most of what Dale says just because, whatever, he's a fucking weird uncle. January 3rd, 1989, Dale and Billy decided to go to Salt Lake City together. They just like kind of went on like this long road trip right now, and there's a lot of unanswered questions during this road trip, but I didn't really dive into too much of it. But they go to Salt Lake City. Billy would later say they were in Clearfield, Utah for a few weeks, then Elko, Nevada. Billy stayed and went to school while Dale got a job and started dating a few women. So they just like camped out in Elko, Nevada for a while. Like, I just went to school there. He started dating some chicks. Like, we did what we did, man. So
Good to see that he's at least showering.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So about a year later, Dale and Billy go back to Moneta, Wyoming to live back on the land. So they're on the road for a year. They did their damn thing. I don't know why or like how this came about. It just all of a sudden goes from them living on the land together. It's like they're like, hey, let's just fucking travel the country together, man. Let's go all the way to Nevada. June 23rd, 1989, the FBI officially takes over the investigation of Kimmel's murder. There's not a lot they have to go on, and the suspect list they have is dwindling. In 1990, Patricia Candace Walsh and Scott Zykowski, who were married, were both found dead. Scott was found dead near El Paso, Texas, and Patricia was found in a rural county, Utah. So he was found in Texas dead. She was found in Utah. So there's probably a situation where she may have gone along with him for quite some time.
Yeah.
After he just disposed of the husband.
Yeah.
And he found several states north. So, she was said to have been sexually tortured and left in desert conditions with her arms posed in the form of a cross. The sun had destroyed her and left her partially mummified. She may have been another extended victim that we don't know much about. So this is like one, I guess there's more speculation towards Dale than any actual evidence, but some shit lines up with it.
Yeah.
In 1994, question number 9, Dale buys a new vehicle. What did he get? Was it a Dodge Ram truck, a Ford van, a Pontiac Firebird, or a Chevy Silverado?
Oh, it's 1999. You said
It's 1994.
24. Ooh.
A Ram truck, a Ford van, a Pontiac Firebird, or a Chevy Silverado?
I spelled that completely wrong. I spelled that so wrong.
It does not matter. I'm sure that even with a misspelling, I'll understand what you're trying to tell me. All three of you guys think he wilded out and got himself some fucking wheels, Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah.
All of you completely forgetting how fucking creepy he is.
Oh, you got the fucking van,
He got
dude.
a Ford van. Yeah, you guys are giving him too much. Firebird, who's he, Dwight Schrute?
Dude, damn.
I know.
Son of
I
a
thought he might be trying to impress
So-
her or something.
Dale buys a Ford van in Riverton, Wyoming, and installed a car phone in Evanston, Wyoming. So he drives up the road and puts in a fucking car phone for whatever reason on the creepy low. On January 1994, he buys food, gas, groceries, and auto parts. And in spring of 94, he is heading west and has been on the road almost nonstop since buying the van. Summer of 1994, he spends traveling the north, stopping in Worland and Thermopolis, Wyoming. So I think he's just traveling Wyoming super hard, just seeing it all, I guess. I'm sure that's a blast. 1994 to 95, during the winter, he went to Idaho Falls, Idaho, and Denver, Colorado. I hear they have very mild winters. July 24th of 97, Amy Roe Bechtel, a 24-year-old female, goes missing while going out for a run to train for a 10K race. Dale Eaton is a major suspect, related because there was a green Dodge van that one of the witnesses claimed to have been there. But when they describe the van, it sounds a lot more like a Ford van, of which Dale Eaton owned a green one.
That's a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, that's kind of a stretch, we'll call it. But, there's essentially like the key piece of evidence is an eyewitness possibly misidentifying his van. But it's kind of in line with where he would have been at the time. So, take it how you will. September 12th, 1997, Dale Eaton attempts to kidnap the Breeden family at gunpoint in Red Desert, Wyoming. The family had stopped with car trouble.
Wait, the whole family?
So I believe there was a husband and a wife and 2 kids. Oh. The family stopped with car trouble, and Dale stopped to help them with his tow truck and drive them to a repair shop. He also had a rifle with him. When the van stopped, Dale tried to stab Shannon, the wife, and he just, I guess, swiped her and he cut her. While Scott jumped on top of him and used Dale's rifle and hit him on top of the head. Apparently, Dale didn't even bring ammo because he thought it would just be enough. Dale attempted to fight back, so Scott stabbed Dale with his own knife. When Dale was arrested, his story was changing repeatedly, which made investigators suspect that he was mentally unstable. When they discovered him, he was covered in his own blood and some blood of Shannon, the woman that he had stabbed. She was fine. Everybody was fine. I'm sure scary as shit. But
That
this
husband came in clutch.
this dude manned up, took the rifle from him, and fucking gave him a thump on the top of the head.
There you go.
Yeah.
Quick question: if you're the kid in the back seat and you just watched your dad whoop some guy's ass like that,
Respect for life,
Like-
dude.
Yeah, don't
straight
doubt.
up, you watched him like club that dude over the head with a
real.
gun. You watched him stab a guy with his own knife, and then like I don't know, 5-6 years later, you're a teenager and you're just like, man, fuck you, dad, I hate you. He's like, hey, you want me to do the same thing to you that I did to that fucking tow truck driver? Like, I mean, you know he can. Most of the time, it's just your old man blowing smoke, but you know he can.
It's like, Dad, you know what? I love you. All right.
It's either that
that-
scenario.
I'm going back to my
or
room.
He becomes a tow truck killer.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So April 23rd of 1998, Dale Eaton's now 53 years old. He takes a plea deal agreement on the Breeden family assault. He had already served 99 days in jail during the trial. He promised to, among several things, abide by the law, no violations of state and federal law. He had to answer questions truthfully during his case. He had to have full-time employment if he was ever to be released. No possession or consumption of alcohol, no presence of drug or alcohol use, and his mental health evaluation had to be 30 days later, and he had to continue to go to counseling. So they're saying, like, you know, if we let you out, these are the conditions.
Yeah.
He served 99 days. He took a plea deal, so he's not going to serve a bunch of time, we don't think. He was given a 2 to 5 year suspended sentence in a halfway house. He had a curfew, and he got his van back so he could work.
So for all the people right now who just like rolled their eyes and groaned super hard, that, oh, I can't believe he didn't get a fucking life sentence. All they had him on was attacking this family. They
Yeah.
still had no idea that he was the dude involved in all the other stuff. We know that now,
That's absolutely correct.
but
That's
they
very
did not know that then.
Thank you, Greg, for clarifying. Yes, June 16th of 1988, question number 10. How long would he...
1998.
1998. So he goes in.
Okay, cool.
He goes in. How long would he stay in the halfway house before he had some type of trouble there? Open question. How long is he going to be there essentially before he fucks up? Years, months, days, who knows? How long can Dale Eaton keep it clean while he's living in the halfway house?
You know what? I'm feeling this number. I hope I win it.
What do you got, Bobby? 2 years.
No, mine says 1 year.
Oh, sorry, 1 year. 3 weeks, says Hunter. 1 day, says
Oh, he
Justin.
going for the low.
Yeah, 3 weeks pretty low too. Bobby went for a year. All right, so it would be 5 weeks later, July 30th, 1998. Hunter's going to get
Hunter,
250
get that.
points. We now have 1,000 points across the board here, guys.
Hunter, get that.
All right.
I like the 1 day answer. That's what I was thinking too.
Hey, he went 5 weeks. He tried, man. He tried.
I thought he'd be like, I'm going to keep it cool for 1 year.
So,
This place sucks.
Yeah, he just fucking drove off. He was like, I have a van. What the fuck am I doing?
Makes, a
just-
little, makes a little bit of money, then drives off.
Yep, he peaced out, and there was a warrant out for his arrest, obviously, almost instantly. Information was logged into the National Crime Information Computer System. Things have changed since the 1980s, you dumb asshole fuckface. On July 30th, Officer Bill Long sees a van parked and learns from dispatch that Dale was a fugitive felon. Long called for backup, and the police found a brand new rifle in Dale's car that was obviously illegally purchased. He was sent off to federal prison on federal weapons charges because he owned them as a felon. So he could have done 2 to 5 years in a halfway house and instead went off on his own, purchased an illegal weapon, and ended up in fucking federal P.
Oof.
Like, this guy sounds like a real rock star. He sounds like a winner.
Well, he sounds like a guy who thinks he can get away with anything, as is the case on what, like every fucking episode.
Dude,
He also sounds
law
like a
one.
guy who can barely tie his shoes.
You think you might be right. So September 3rd of 2001, 3 years later, Dale is suspected to have killed his cellmate in a fit of anger and was charged with manslaughter for doing so. His cellmate died from a ruptured vertebral artery. Apparently his autopsy would state that he couldn't have died in a way, like he didn't die from falling down. Like his neck was twisted.
Oh,
So July of 2002, DNA testing has become quite a strong thing. And 13 years ago, an unidentified Wyoming murder had come to a standstill and had gotten new attention based on a book by the mother of the victim. The new attention had them pull all the DNA evidence that they had collected in 89 so that they could find it and run it against all databases. When they ran it, it took some time, but eventually Dale's DNA is matched with semen found in Lisa Kimmel's panties. They go out to his old property just to kind of look around how they can before they really try to even look for him, and he's not there. But there are neighbors nearby, like we said, within about a half a mile. One neighbor remembered seeing a backhoe out on the property around the time the police are talking about. This is 13 years, but the lady's like, I've lived here for 25 years. I know what you're talking about. This guy's a fucking creep. He had this gigantic backhoe out here digging some huge fucking hole. 13 years ago or not, I know exactly what you're fucking talking about. Yes, weird shit was happening over there.
Fucking tractor over there.
Yeah. And so police are able to get a search warrant for the property after they just kind of do their looking over it, what they can legally without doing so. They decide, or they're able to get probable cause and get a search warrant. They're able to see an area where there's believed to be, someone had done some heavy digging. And so remember, right now, Dale's in federal P. They know this now. So they can do whatever the fuck they want. This property is just out there, and it's kind of just left because Dale's the only one on it at this time. And nothing has changed. They are able to go through that old bus, but they don't find really any evidence. They scour the property, and they don't seem to really be able to find anything. Then they kind of go on that lady's whim of, I think I saw a backhoe out here. They notice an area that looks like for sure is dug up at a different time than the areas around it. And so they bring their own backhoe out and they dig a gigantic fucking hole. And question number 11.
Oh, snaps.
What did they find in that hole? Was it a mass grave? Nothing. Kimmel's CRX? Or a stash of weapons? A mass grave, nothing in the hole, Kimmel's CRX, or a stash of weapons?
What's the first one mean? Like a mass?
A bunch of bodies. They find a bunch of bodies.
Number
A mass grave?
Yeah.
Bobby says mass grave. Mass grave from Hunter, and Justin says a CRX, Kimmel's CRX. Justin's going to take the lead because, yes, indeed. So they dug it down about 8 feet, and it was like a 10 by 10 hole they were digging on. They could kind of see where it was. And they're 8 feet deep, and there's nothing. And so the guys, I guess that it was just like a backhoe operator that worked for the sheriff's department or whatever. They're like, man, what do you want us to keep digging? Come on, man. Like, there's nothing here. We're 8 feet down in a 10 by 10 hole. And the sheriff's department's like, dude, just come on. Like, give us another hour. Just keep digging. And they said like 20 minutes later, they ran the bucket over and they heard metal. They climbed down and they start chipping away with hammers and shovels. And they start realizing that it's a car. And that Dale had tried to fashion the vehicle into a makeshift septic system. So he was not only hiding it for himself, but he was also trying to use it, be resourceful, but he had abandoned it. But he had, I guess, he tried to make the cabin of the vehicle watertight so he could, I don't know, man. They tried to explain it a little bit.
Sweet welding skills to weld everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So he was trying to make the CRX part of so he's getting to hide evidence and also get a use out of it.
Yeah.
You know? Fucking idiot. So
he buried the septic tank so deep, so it's up to code. You don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. April 17th of 2003, Eaton is formally charged for abduction of Lisa Kimmel. He was charged with first-degree murder, premeditated murder, aggravated robbery, first-degree sexual assault, second-degree sexual assault, and aggravated kidnapping. On March 3rd, 2004, Eaton's trial for the murder of Kimmel begins. Is that your birthday?
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Okay.
That's my birthday. Yeah.
Happy super early birthday. March 17th, 2004, the jury returns a guilty verdict. Ooh. On March 18th, testimony begins in the penalty phase of the trial. Once that is complete 2 days later, question number 12, what will be his sentence?
Oof. Ooh, okay, here we go. Are we stabbing?
Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot to mark the last question. I wanted to get caught up. No, I have. Sorry. Okay. If you can stab if you want, if you like your answer and you wrote it down, you can have it, because if you stab, it's for 1,000 points. There are multiple choice options. You can't do the multiple choice if you stab, though. So you can keep that answer if you'd like, or scratch it off, and I'll give you multiple choice options. You're not going to get 1,000 if you scratch it off, and it was the
You know
answer
what?
either.
I like my answer.
All right.
I like it a lot.
Anybody else stabbing?
I'm not stabbing.
All right. Hunter's going for the throat
I
here.
don't know why.
Okay. Was it death, 25 to 50 years with no chance of parole, life in prison, or 15 to 40 with a chance in 25? All right, Hunter, what do you got there?
I got 200 years, 250.
All right, so
I don't know.
wasn't one of the options. Sorry, no points here.
Okay, so
Big
say
gamble.
what?
Was it worth it?
I don't know. That's life in prison, though.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm gonna go.
But 250-year sentence would have been. You were technically correct, but
Can I get that?
Which is best correct.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Was it
Oh,
death,
yeah.
25 to 50 with no chance of parole, life in prison, a life sentence, or 15 to 40 with a chance in 25?
But not literally correct.
Not serial killers, correct. I need to get a fucking sad trombone.
Let's see.
Bobby really wants to win. He does not want to get this wrong.
I'm gonna go
That-
life. I'll go life in prison.
All right.
Damn.
Bobby says life. Justin says death. The jury sentenced Eaton to death. Justin is going to take
Damn it.
a 500-point lead. So here's what's going to happen.
I'm gonna make this.
You guys are going to have to stab at the last question regardless.
Okay. All right.
To be able to beat Justin, because there's no 500-point option. So, you do it however you want. I don't share the multiple choices. Okay, so that's how it's going to have to go down. So Justin's taking a pretty insurmountable lead here.
I always believe, no matter how.
It's not over. It's for sure not over. You guys need to nail it, and you can win it. You can win it outright.
Believe it.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
Okay. So during the formal sentencing hearing, the judge added an additional life sentence in case the death sentence was ever overturned in a higher court. He just to say extra fuck. I'm like, yeah, I know you got a death sentence. Here, I'm gonna just give you a life sentence on top of that, just in fucking case.
Wait, so hold on. If you sentence him to death and you sentence him to life, what happens?
He's perfectly balanced.
As things should be.
Lethal injection.
Yeah. So on August 18th, Eaton's case was appealed for ineffective assistance of counsel. This was of 2008, so 4 years after the trial.
Dang.
During the formal sentencing and hearing, the judge added the additional. On August 18th, 2008, a little over 4 years later, Eaton's case was appealed for ineffective assistance of counsel, hostility, prejudice, and bias, juror misconduct, wrongful admission of evidence, and incomplete record, prosecutorial conduct, and cumulative error. So, he's trying to get it all overturned.
Just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah. So this is gonna be the last question.
Oh man, here we go.
Question number 13. In what year
Yes.
did Dale Eaton die?
Oof.
You guys are gonna need to stab to win it. So you
Here we go. I'm gonna go.
And what was the year he was born again?
45.
45. Okay. 45.
Who's over there doing math?
stabbing.
Quick
right?
math.
yeah they
Oh, okay.
yeah you got multiple choice
Yeah.
options. Yeah.
I don't
If
think
you'd
that's
like,
fair. I think you should stab.
You can stab if
You
you'd
should-
like.
You
Should I
should
risk
stab
it?
to be fair. Yeah, you
I'll
definitely
risk
should.
it. Okay.
Justin's gonna risk it for the biscuit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna
I'll just-
say.
Well, really, if they get it, they're gonna win anyway.
Yeah.
You've got to,
Yeah.
your
Now-
250-point lead on it wouldn't catch anything.
Yeah.
So might as well. Okay, so Bobby said he's still alive. Justin said 2011. 93, but this was in 2008. So
What?
yeah.
Dude, I saw
August
like, he
18th,
time traveled
2008.
and
Did you
died.
say that?
It was yeah.
So
it
it's
was
my
Eaton's
fault
case.
for not asking a question when a question should have
Yep,
been
that's
asked.
okay. But that means you're not going to win today. You'll have a chance to come back, I'm sure, if you'd like. Okay. Bobby just won. He is still alive.
Yes.
He is still alive.
Yes,
Bobby.
they always are.
They always are. Bobby with 1,000 points at the end. Yeah, man. congratulations. 2011 was actually an option too. So
What's funny is he sabotaged himself and me at the same time because he told me to risk it.
Kamikaze, bro.
Oh, yes.
That's a choice, man.
I didn't want to get too much further into it until I asked that question, but he was awarded the new trial. The new thing they're battling as of 2015 was whether or not he can stand trial for death on a 30-year-old crime. A federal judge blocked the state of Wyoming from seeking the death penalty once more. So essentially, the federal judge in Wyoming was like, all right, look, I get it. It's heinous. It's been 30 years. You fucked up the first trial. We can't sentence him to death. We can give him a 500-year sentence. We can do that. We can't put him on death row again. And he's, at the time, was the only person sitting on death row in Wyoming.
What?
Yeah, say no fucking California, Texas.
Call him
yeah.
the Reaper.
So they decided that's kind of where it's at right now. He continues to sit in prison to this day, where he'll await a Supreme Court hearing, and he's got his place in line. So until he hears from that, he currently, according to the federal judge in Wyoming, cannot be tried for death. But the state of Wyoming still wants to, so they're going to await that Supreme Court hearing. He's still in prison for this murder and for the federal weapons charges anyway. Yeah. So that's Dale Eaton, you guys. Fuck him. Fuck everything about him.
Fuck you, Dale
Let's just
Eaton.
hope he doesn't. Let's
Follow
just
me
hope
on
they were
Instagram.
able to sentence him to death again. That's.
You know what, man? You could rot. You could rot like the rotten apple you are.
So, any last moment thoughts about Dale Eaton, guys?
I have a couple actually. Dude, you listen to this one day. Listen to me. Listen to me very clearly, okay?
82-year-old Dale Eaton's just tuning in.
You're old, but your sins aren't.
Got him.
And you know what? You could be a better man.
And if you got a demon in you, you call Bobby. He'll get that shit out of you.
Get him out quick.
I was just amazed on how he was a welder, an engineer.
Yeah, he did everything.
Everything. And he had such good things going at times.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are even the kind of like more simple bumpkin, like guys that you don't necessarily think they're intelligent. They all had some like spot where you're like, why just keep doing that, man?
Yeah.
Like, there are for sure exceptions where it was never good,
Yeah.
but some of the time. But that's what separates them from us, the fuckface stamp.
Yeah.
Anything, Hunter?
It's kind of just hard to imagine that he worked that many jobs with people, obviously, and it just never really. No, I mean you can't really do anything around
He's
that.
a serial
If
killer,
someone's just
doesn't it?
weird.
Yeah. Greg said makes you wonder who around you is a serial killer.
I mean, what passes for a serial killer for sure? Like,
So, did you guys check to see if the doors were locked in this room? Or?
Dude,
the door behind him is
we're about to have
open.
a serial killer.
I was going to say,
face-off.
I actually dropped through a trap door and the room filled with gas.
I'd be like, let's go.
That's why he brought his mask.
I already prepared for it.
That's not gonna
Serial killer versus serial killer.
He's been here before. So, you guys want to throw any social medias or anything before we get Bobby? I know you do. Let's hear them all.
Yo, check it out. I synced my shit. _B3R_. That's it.
On everything?
On pretty much everything, yeah.
Dang.
You know what you got to do, though? If you can't find it on something else, just click a link because they're all connected.
Cool.
Because I synced.
I can appreciate Bobby. I feel like you've grown up.
You know what? I kind of have.
I'm proud of you.
Little
When
dang.
when you synced everything, what happened to all of your follower?
It actually did go up exponentially, and it's still going up. And you're right. And I'm a man. I can admit that.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
You got
JP,
it.
you are right. Listen to this, JP. You are right.
There you go. So, Justin, anything?
Yeah, Justin Vasquez 22 at Twitter and Instagram.
There you go. Also synced up. Hunter, you got anything you want to share?
Nah.
No,
Cool.
you better share that Instagram.
I don't know.
homie.
It's private.
Man, you.
All right. So, Hunter's a mystery.
He is a mystery.
Yes, if you
You
feel like
wanna see him.
solving
Not even his
anything.
real name.
I mean, legally it is, but, but sometimes I like to call myself the man.
There you go. See, we've got a lot of the men in the studio here tonight. So, if that's all, man, thank you guys for coming out.
Wait, who won?
You.
You already
You
won,
did,
bro.
dude. You won.
Oh,
yeah. That's what I said. You won the serial chiller.
Yeah, he said
Oh,
when you stab it.
All right,
you
minus
can only win by
1,000.
stabbing.
Justin is now the
No,
winner.
no.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 74
I'm still
of the
winner.
Serial
I'm still
Chillers
the winner. I'm
podcast.
still the winner, guys. Please.
Just kidding. Hella Greg, anything you want to end it with here,
I
buddy?
thought we were doing a draw off something.
No, I'm good.
Draw offs or when it's a tie. Find Hella Greg at Hella Greg. Super easy. So congratulations, I guess, Bobby, on your victory.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Justin, for being here. Thank you, Hunter, for joining us. Thank you, Hella Greg, across the internet and your mobile phone far away. And thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 74 of the Serial Chillers podcast. No, you guys are tied at 1,000. He got 500, went up 1,500 to 1,000. You scored 1,000. The last one went up 2,000. That was 1,000. Yeah, I was doing my own thing. You don't look at my scoreboard.
I'm sorry,
You
dog.
just look at what I say, man.
I'm
You just
sorry,
look at what I say.
man. I'm sorry.
This has been another presentation from Super Network.